To tonight's NASCAR 07 Nextel Cup Series race, and it will be at the Richmond Raceway for the Richmond 200. This is just a 50% race. Originally scheduled, we were supposed to have our last 50% race at Pocono. I moved it up to today instead because this is the only way I was going to be able to do a NASCAR 07 stream here tonight on this Monday evening. So later start time for you guys, obviously, but it should be a quick stream because of the fact, again, it's only 200 laps instead of the full 400. So about the length of a truck or a Busch Series race here, actually shorter than what the Busch races would be at Richmond. Very much a sprint race today. Good news is, as usual, I have a fast car when it comes to the short tracks. Richmond is one of my better tracks on this game. I'd say Richmond, New Hampshire are my two best tracks on this game. And oddly enough, we go to Richmond tonight for the Cup Series, and we go to New Hampshire tomorrow night for the Truck Series. So you may see me dominate, but needless to say, we just got to get the job done. We have a pretty big points lead right now and trying to get that #1 seed before the chase begins. And we still have, after tonight, 15 races to go until the chase. And it's going to be a minute before our next Cup Series race. It's been a little bit since the last Cup Series race. We did win at Talladega in the most recent event, so hopefully we can try to go for back-to-back and win here today as well. Green flags in the air, on the pole. We were fastest in practice. This car is a rocket ship, and we'll see Dave Blaney try to go as close to wire as he possibly can in this one here this evening. Lap 1 from the pole, led by Blaney. And even in what is really still the early going of the season, just finished the first 25% of the schedule. Wrapping up that most recent race at Talladega. By far have the most wins. Trying to chase Richard Petty on the all-time wins list. For maybe not career wins, because obviously Dave Blaney will never get there in one season, but most wins in a single season. You never know. I mean, we've won all but 2. Really a dream season for Dave Blaney. I didn't think I could dominate any more than what I did in the Mark Martin Revenge Tour season, but we might be able to here. Crazy thing is, we could be 300 points ahead with 10 races to go, but then that points reset, we're only going to have a 5-point advantage over second after that. And about a 45-point advantage over, 55-point advantage, excuse me, over last in the chase, which would be 10th. So we got to at least, you know, get the #1 seed because it's still mathematically, obviously, the best spot to be in. So that's what we're focused on for right now. And Greg Biffle just took second after the Dega race in the point standings. He's 1 point ahead of Dale Jr. So now we're battling both of those guys for the first spot. Both a little over a full race worth of points out of first. How about that game? I know, man. Tigers pulled out another clutch win through the late going into the season. Scooby's the man. Said it time and time again. I'll say it again. Tarek Skubal is the man. By far the MVP of the game. 7 scoreless innings. Oh, I'm watching the Tigers game. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I'm going to be watching the Tigers game. I'll be catching the Wings game after the fact. But knowing that that Tigers game is going to bleed into like the early going of the Wings game, I'm going to be watching the Tigers game through and through. I don't want to miss a pitch. It's playoff baseball, man. We ain't used to this kind of stuff. I'm not going to risk switching it back and forth. I just don't want to miss a pitch. Unless it's a nothing game at that point, you know, then I would probably do that, but that would be the only way. 10 laps in, already a 2-second lead. The short tracks are not only my personal strong suit on this game, but on Dave Blaney's driver attributes, it has him as a B grade for short tracks, which is better than what he is on intermediates, road courses, and super speedways on this game. So having a bunch of short tracks early in the season, obviously, you know, dominating most of those, Bristol, Martinsville, Phoenix, and now here at Richmond. That's 4 of the first 10 races that we've really been able to get after because, again, those intermediate tracks, we got a lot of them coming up. Dover, I think, could be another good racetrack for us in a couple races, but you got Charlotte coming up, Pocono, Michigan. 2 Poconos and 2 Michigans really in the next 10 races or so. Indianapolis, like those races are going to be really tough for me to try to get a win. I'll see what I can do on the road courses. Tend to be pretty good on the road courses. But we haven't had one yet with Dave Blaney on this season. So that'll be interesting. Well, we'll be wrapping up the truck series between the rest of this week, and then we'll have 3 races left after this week. I just know that New Hampshire race, 200 laps, is going to be longer than 200 laps here at Richmond, so that's why I did this race tonight, knowing I was going to have a later start time to the stream. Moderator since June. Well, no, I don't know the exact date. I know it's been a minute, though. Yeah, you've definitely been around on the channel for a while. Ryan Berwick, thanks for tuning in also. Tigers on the computer and the Wings on the TV. Are you more of a Tigers fan or are you more of a Red Wings fan? Like, are you more hockey or baseball? It's always been kind of even for me. I feel like I appreciate hockey way more now as a sport than what I did when I was younger. You know, because when I was younger, for instance, like my high school didn't have like a hockey team. And although I didn't really play like baseball, you know, competitively going up into like high school and stuff, I did play at a lower level, you know, through Little League. And then, you know, I would still go to the ball diamonds. My sister had a soft pitch. Well, not even really a soft pitch. You can really change the setting whenever you want. But we'd go soft pitch and take the pitching machine down to the ball diamonds when there was like no practices and stuff going on. And me and my buddies would just be doing like a home run derby at the park, fielding balls and stuff. So I was still doing that like quite a bit through the summertime growing up. Really from like my middle school years all the way through high school. And even really, I mean, a couple of years after that, we wouldn't go as much, you know, the last handful of years or so. It's been like 2 or 3 years since I've gone over there and we've all gotten together and, you know, play a little harder now. But yeah, even like a year or 2 out of high school, though, we would still go down like a couple times a month and get the bats going, get the gloves snapping. But yeah, over the last like probably 5-6 years or so, I've more appreciated hockey. But when I was younger, you know, there wasn't, outside of watching the Red Wings, I could never like play it, you know, or anything unless I would have done like a travel team or something like. So I had no like aspirations of it in that essence. I understood it, but yeah, I definitely have way more of an appreciation for it now. Ethan, thanks for tuning in. Do all trucks. I saw you comment that on the community tab post, I believe. Again, I couldn't stream a truck race tonight, knowing that New Hampshire was the next race. I wanted to make sure I was going to watch my Detroit Tigers play. Again, first time they've been in the playoffs in 10 years. I'm trying my best not to miss a game. This is the first game I've actually been able to watch from start to finish. The first 2 games against the Astros I couldn't watch for the most part because I was at work, and then I got home. I think I got home top of the 8th in game 2 and then top of the 9th in game 1 of that series. I was listening to it on the way back from work for a couple innings. Caught the first inning or so of both games on my last break at work, so I was catching it when I could, but... And then obviously streaming on Saturday during Game 1 of the ALDS against Cleveland. Watched the top of the first, and then I didn't even get to see the first run of the bottom of the first inning when Detroit imploded early. For better or for worse, but I didn't see any of that. And then I watched, I want to say 2 innings of the game. The 7th and 8th in between Cup qualifying Saturday and the Xfinity race. So yeah, today was the first of the 4 games that I've been able to watch from start to finish. And then Wednesday, I know I'm not going to be able to watch all of it because I'll be at work when the game starts again. So probably be able to catch a little bit more at the end of the game because it's a slightly later start time. Probably get back in about the 7th inning or so and catch the end of that and then stream. Thursday, I'll be able to catch it all again. Most of it. I moved the stream for Thursday up to 5:30. That's about as... That's even going to be cutting. That's going to be cutting it kind of close. I'm not really going to be able to do much. I'm probably going to get home about 15 minutes before that stream's supposed to start. And that being at the end of my work week. Hopefully I'm ready for it. I think that's the Dega race, too, on the schedule. Set myself up for failure that day, I think. So I'll probably miss the very start of the game because of that, but trying to do my best to stream consistently. Oh. Thursday's at 6. Yeah, I know. I'll miss the very, very start of it. At least the truck races, you know, majority of the time they're shorter, so... But I'll catch the vast majority of that game on Thursday. I'm hoping they just clinch in 4 because Saturday's going to be tough again with Cup qualifying and the Xfinity race. I think it'll be a later start time anyway, so it's mainly the Xfinity race where I'm going to miss a majority of that game. Massive big one, yeah. Biggest ever according to NBC, which I still think is, you know, I wish we had a list of the cars involved in the incident, because usually when we get a wreck, they're pretty good with giving us a graphic of who was listed as involved in the incident. And I had a graphic on NASCAR.com, obviously, during the live commentary stream on the Raw feed, and there were only 23 drivers on that list. So I had stated over the commentary that there were 23 lead changes, and then on the broadcast they were saying there was 28, but they didn't have a list on there. And on NASCAR.com I had a list, which usually NASCAR is the one that's like updating all the stats and information and stuff on there with the live timing and scoring. So I do find it a little skeptical. You know, whether maybe NBC might have fudged the numbers or something. It kind of reminded me of like a pro wrestling thing where it's like they'll kind of like inflate numbers to make things seem more appalling, I guess. They'll do that a lot with like attendance. That's what I kind of felt like with that. I was curious. Because there were some people in the chat like, oh, maybe they were missing, you know, so-and-so and so-and-so. I'm like, no, they're listed. They're on here. So we never really got the full list of drivers that were technically involved. Work Friday and Saturday. Yeah, I can't really... My last break will end before the start of the game Wednesday, so I know I'm not going to be able to catch any of it at work. I try to check my phone as much as I can on the score, but I can't like check like the box score or anything like that. It's more of like my phone, like the MLB app will be open, for instance, and I'll like have my phone sitting like in a compartment trying to think. I don't know where I'll be on Wednesday in there, but there'll be like a cubby if I'm on a lift, or maybe I'm not on a lift, and I'll have it like sitting where I can at least see the score. But I'm not able to actually like pick it up and scroll through anything. They'll frown upon that. So it's more like I can see the score, I can see who's on base and how many outs there are and stuff, but I can't see like who's at the plate or anything like that. at that time. It's more just like a quick, like 2-3 second glance. Try to get all the information I can. 10 minutes, 15 minutes later go by, then I'll take another quick, like 2-3 second glance. I don't want to make it look obvious. I know I'm not supposed to be on my phone. I have to make it discreet. Kind of done that most of the season when they've had random afternoon games during the week, though, too. So I know what I'm doing at this point. I've got it down to a T. As easy as the lap traffic has been getting past here on Dave Blaney's behalf. Up until there, a little 3 wide. Aggressiveness and trying to get by Casey Mears in the 42. Murray in the 26 now. J.J. Yaley going a lap down as well. Lap 42 in this one. Already a 7.5, nearly 8-second lead. We're just dominating tonight. Like I said, between here and New Hampshire, my 2 best tracks. Hopefully what we're doing tonight, we can do with a 200-lap truck race tomorrow as well. These next 2 days are about extending points leads. And after that, the next 2 nights, Vegas, Talladega for the Truck Series season on NASCAR 07, we're just going to be about maintaining as best as we can. Should be a 2-stop race today. We're at lap 43, and right in the middle of turns 3 and 4, we just got to the halfway mark on our fuel tank. So should easily be a 2-stop race. Another 3 wide pass. This one a little cleaner. There's Jamie McMurray. He's got the Sharpie paint scheme tonight. Fantasy driver up on the outside as well. Michael Turner, thanks for tuning in. Alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in this race. Big extension to this lead is mainly just due to the fact that, again, I can enter low, get the grip through the middle of the corner, and still exit low. Just not using all of the racetrack and taking the shortest route around, which is fastest. Honestly, I call this the Austin Dillon line because I know he does it a lot here at Richmond, and that's why he was as fast as he was this last summer race. If you have the grip to be able to do this. Shortest way around the racetrack can sometimes be the fastest. Especially on the front stretch. A lot wider to get out to the wall there. The curved front stretch than what it is on the back stretch where it's a little bit tighter of an exit. Back straightaway a lot more straight, of course. $4,100 fans is pretty good. for not having for not being Division 1. I think I remember you saying wasn't it like Division 2 or Division 3? It seems like a lot for a smaller school. Driven it really deep. Grip down on that apron. I did have my car a little bit too snug in practice, so I freed it up a bit into qualifying and ran a little bit faster. Well, I made an adjustment actually mid-practice run, took some wedge out of it. I was running faster laps, and then actually into qualifying, I was a little bit quicker in practice than what it was in qualifying, but still got the pole. Left about 1/10 of a second out there. So that wasn't 21.5, so I know 21.5s are definitely doable. So I did run them already. I don't think I've touched that in the race yet, though. These first 60 laps. .4 second lead. Car's still handling well. Tires are holding on pretty fine. Haven't seen a lot of tire wear to this point. We'll probably have to pit right around lap 85. Hit halfway out of gas at lap 43. So looking 84, 85, somewhere around there is going to be my projected first pit stop. There's the 21.5. 21 in me at some point. And there it was. Sliding clear of Jeff Burton. Quarter of a tank of gas left. I am a little bit curious to see if they're going to pit around the same time as me. I would expect that they will. If they're somehow able to make it to lap 100 and I'm burning that much more fuel, then we're going to have to pit one more time. I think I have a fast enough car that I'm still going to be capable of winning this race, pitting one extra time, to be completely honest. I'm a little hesitant during this first stop. I think we are far enough ahead of second that we should be able to stay on the lead lap if we short pitted. Just in case. Definitely want this to stay green. I feel like on these shorter tracks, we have a tendency to have a lot more longer green flag runs. Seems like we don't get many cautions in these kinds of races. Third of the way home, 21.549. I really felt like back 3 and 4 up a ton, too. Because I entered so low to get underneath Kurt Busch. I kind of got out of the gas quite a bit, slid up the track just enough, still stayed underneath him, and then powered back into it. That line allowed for me to run my quickest lap time of the day, practice or race. Qualifying obviously included in that as well. I mean, at this point, I think even with a late caution, it's going to be tough to beat us today. Even though we haven't seen a whole lot of tire wear in this thing, we're still going to take 4 tires when we do come onto pit road. Again, a 2-stop race tonight for Dave Blaney. Yeah, I knew about the Rashee Rice injury last week when it happened. I don't have any Chiefs players on my fantasy league, so in that essence, it doesn't really concern me at all. I know Pacheco's injured for him too right now, isn't he? Somebody dropped him in my fantasy league. He's out for a little while. It's not like I'm going to pick him up. I thought he had like a fracture in his leg or something. Like in his shin. Whatever the shin bone is. Is that the tibia or the fibula? I always get those two mixed up. But I saw a 6 to 8 week injury on him. They have him on the IR right now. Fantasy football is like the only reason I pay any sort of attention to any teams around the league other than the Packers. Especially when I'm in contention for a championship like I am with these two teams. Obviously, it's early in the season, so unless I was like winless or something like that, then I wouldn't really have much of a chance. But won both my leagues this week. I'm 4-1 in the work league, and the big money league on the other side. I'm 3-2, winning back-to-back games, making the right free agent moves. Your buddy said they're smelly. I think you said they're smelly. I think you're blaming it on your buddy. Throwing him under the bus, I see. I know you said they're smelly before. Spoiled cheese, I see. It's crazy that they're last in the division at 3-2. The Bears really came out of nowhere this year. I mean, I get Caleb Williams is there, but he's only a rookie, you know. Oh, got somebody down on the racetrack over here. Oh, and he hit the inside wall entering turn 1. I don't know what he was doing down on the apron of the track. I thought he was blowing an engine, but I didn't see smoke pouring out of the back of the car. So we have green flag pit stops going on right now. Still caution free. Jimmy Johnson a lap down. We're going to pit at lap 84. We're going to pit at lap 84. We're going to stay out this time by. And then we're going to pit the following time by. Everybody pitting pretty much around the same time we're going to have to. So it's definitely a two-stop race. Most of the, well, all the lead lap cars have pit already. Obviously, Blaney's still out there on the racetrack. Blaney coming in this time. Pretty smooth pit road entry. Actually, it was a lot more aggressive and got down there all right in practice than what I did right there, but still worked. Oh yeah, Texan's going to be tough for sure. I also can't believe the Vikings are 5-0. Like, going into the year, whether it was J.J. McCarthy or Sam Darnold. Honestly, I've kind of been telling a lot of people around me this, and I'm like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm a Michigan fan, but I also look at things unbiased in the sense that I don't know that I would have started J.J. McCarthy anyway to begin the season, to be completely honest. I'm not just saying that because of the success Sam Darnold's having right now with him, but in retrospect, I just didn't think he was an NFL quarterback when he was playing at Michigan. He just doesn't have that size that an NFL quarterback would have. He's pretty short, but he's not short and stocky like a Russell Wilson or... And he doesn't have like that cannon arm, you know, to try to help overcome that either. Hate to see, you know, players go down with an injury, but I think it actually helped the Vikings quite a bit. My goodness, Jeff Burton just missed pit road and almost clobbered the tire, or the barrels, I should say, not the tire barrier, but their barrels at the front of pit road. Almost hit him. It's probably what that fantasy driver did earlier as well, but we have cycled all the way through green flag pit stops. And Dave Blaney has not led every lap today because I did see Mark Martin lead in the middle of green flag stops. Lap 90. Chugging along. Second place just pitted. A lot of grip down there on these fresh tires. Diving under the lapper. This thing is all sorts of gripped up. No field passes in this Cup Series. Again, that is due to the fact that we have just Dave Blaney that we're working with here. No teammates on the Cup Series side of things. 16.3 second lead. Just massive. Gonna think the only driver that led any laps other than Blaney during the green flag pit stops would have been Mark Martin. Still caution free in this one as we're almost halfway home. Hey, Tony Stewart. Oh boy, outside 3 wide. Hamlin was running him tough. A little contact off the exit of turn 2. My goodness. Denny Hamlin, teammate of Tony Stewart, getting into him. Obviously, Sterling Marlin down to the bottom of the track made that way more interesting. Jeff Burton still, speaking of bottom of the racetrack, still down there on the apron entering into the next corner. And Burton misses pit road again. He's been trying to pit for a while. He's going to run out of gas here pretty soon, as he goes a lap down now. See this side skirt of Tony Stewart's race car having a bunch of donuts on it from Hamlin, making contact with him a little bit ago. Thought you could try to run the race on one stop. So if it would have been a full race, I know I definitely could have went more than 100 laps on a full tank of gas, but because this is a 50% race, the fuel window is accelerated. So that's why I was only able to go about 84 laps on fuel. I maybe could have went another couple laps beyond that, but I didn't want to risk it at that time. Having as big of a lead as we had especially, didn't want to ruin it. Yeah, I believe that is why you're seeing us have to pit twice in this race. It's the final 50% race, not only for this Cup Series season, but across our Busch and truck seasons as well. Dale Jr. running up on the lead lap, I believe. I know Kyle Busch started around us. I believe all 4 of these cars up here are on the lead lap. Kenseth, Johnson, Busch, Kyle Busch, obviously that is, and then Dale Jr. Dave Blaney about to lap the field in barely over 100 laps. Royals or Yankees? I mean, I think the Yankees, I'd still predict them to come out of the American League as the American League champs. I'd prefer to play the Royals because I think we stack against them a little bit better, but yeah, it's probably going to be the Yanks. Earnhardt getting by Johnson for, it would be 4th on the racetrack. Busch going a lap down. The hands of Dave Blaney and Matt Kenseth in 2nd, about to go lap down. Now this battle for 2nd place can continue on because if we get a caution, they're right back in it because whoever's in 2nd will get the free pass to get back on the lead lap because they're the first car lap down. So by mathematical sake, this race will not be over. Still a little bit outside our fuel window to make it to the end. Oh, Kurt Busch blowing a motor. And I think Jeff Burton finally made it to pit road. After all that time running down on the racetrack where he did, he finally made it to the pits. Good for him. He was struggling for about 20 laps or so. Kurt Busch made his way into the pits as well with that engine failure. Somebody else's. No, maybe I'm just seeing things. Yeah, I'm just seeing things. Thought I saw somebody else pulling a motor too. My eyes are deceiving me. Yanks Royals tied 1-1. Oh, that game just finished then? Royals played them tough in game 1. Obviously, I didn't catch any of that game today. Top 4. Oh, I see what you're saying now. I thought you meant the series was tied 1-1. Game's tied at 1. I read you now. I was going to say, that game started not that long ago. I was surprised they would have been done already. I saw you mention something about that earlier in the chat. Is this like a... Is this like a new thing? I remember you saying something about having vision problems a long time ago. Should say, is it a temporary blinding? I don't need glasses. No, I'm good. I've got perfect 20/20 vision. I think I was looking at that inside wall, how it kind of like pokes out a little bit into 3, and it narrows up at the end of the backstretch, and I was thinking that that was like a trail of smoke from a lap car at the bottom of the track, because a couple laps before that was when I saw Kurt Busch blowing a motor in that same area of the track. I think that's what was throwing me for a loop. Riding a detachment in December of last year. I remember a while back you were talking about having an eye problem. Probably when I'm... Well, I mean, I would imagine I'll have to get glasses at some point, but I have zero problems with my vision right now. I guess the only thing with my vision that'd be a problem is the fact I'm colorblind, but that's not really a vision thing. Well, I mean, it's a vision thing, but not like in the sense that I'm a danger to society driving on the streets. Like, it ain't that bad. Well, we're just inside our fuel window, so if we were to see our first caution of the race anytime between now and our final stop, which would be with a little less than 40 laps to go, and honestly, with how far we've taken this run, we might even be able to make it down to about 30 to go before we have to pit for the final time. Got a tickle in my nose. It is bothering me so bad right now. It's like giving me that urge to sneeze, but I'm not sneezing. It's like one of the worst feelings that you can have. My allergies have been brutal this weekend. I've been sneezing so much over the last like 2 to 3 days. I had to block the camera out like 3 times during the live commentary stream yesterday alone just to go blow my nose. I don't know if you could tell or not over the live commentary stream, but there were times I was kind of getting stuffed up a little bit. So when I was playing the on-air audio of NBC's broadcast, I was blacking out my camera so I can go away and loosen up the old navel cavities. Yeah, that was tough yesterday. I think that's part of why I was losing my voice on Saturday. My throat was getting a little dry. They've been taking crops down around where I live with the fields, the crop fields and stuff, so I think that's what's causing it. Especially a day like today, it wasn't really windy at all. It was like pretty calm, so it's just dry. Like right now, for the most part, I feel fine. If I would have done this stream like earlier in the afternoon, it would have been another tough one. It definitely would have been tough, but the day went on, it kind of starting to go away a little bit. Maybe drink fluids. Hey man, all I drink is water. I drink a ton of water. Like, I never get dehydrated or anything. I can only imagine during allergies. Well, I say allergy season. Allergy season for me is like from spring through fall. Like, it doesn't stop for me. It's so bad. I don't know of anybody else throughout my lifetime that has allergies as bad as I do. Like, it's ridiculous. That's why the wintertime, even living in the cold, Midwest, close to the lake, it's actually grown on me over the last, 5 to 10 years in particular, just because of how bad my allergies are, and I don't get them that time of the year. Like, I don't get them when it's below 40 degrees outside and the wind is blowing sideways and it's cold. They're still on the ground. Like, I don't get allergies at that time, so it's like kind of a relief. Not quite to that point yet. Not far from Sam Hornish's house. Yeah, Defiance. It's probably a lot further from where I live than 35. I haven't really been to Defiance. I know, on the turnpike, I remember seeing, exits for Defiance, but I don't think, I've actually been in Defiance. It's probably a little longer than 35 minutes for me to get there. Because I'm on the opposite side of Toledo area from where that's at. Couple counties over yet. But yeah, he's not from too far from here, really. Probably a good halfway point between that and Sandusky, Ohio, where the Thor Motorsports facility is. Truck Series team. Matt Crafton, Ben Rhodes, Ty Majeski. Jake Garcia. I don't know, I'm just naming all the Thor Sport trucks now. All the current drivers. Yeah, I've never met Sam Hornish. Yeah, you gotta think too, he's way older than me, so when I grew up racing, he was already winning Indy 500 and when I was a kid, so they're our paths never crossed in the go-kart racing world at a young age. Knock on his door. Yeah, like I know where he lives. What house this is. Yeah, that's not creepy at all, you know? Just knock on his door. That won't startle him. That won't have him call the cops on me. See it in the local Toledo news. Stalker found. The suspect in question claims he's just a fan, but is he really? I mean, I wouldn't blame him for calling the cops if I showed up and did that. Well, now you're just going way too far. That's just you're just claiming I'm just going to do like a home invasion. .513 that last lap, fastest lap of the day for the 22 car. We continue to dominate. We'll be going into that Truck Series season tomorrow, and hopefully we can do the same thing on another flatter, shorter track in New Hampshire. Although I did kind of struggle at Milwaukee. With the trucks, at least. I'm really hoping that was just a one-off. I don't know what it was about that track, but I couldn't get any rear grip. Wells up 4-1. All right, KC. I'm hoping they beat him. Won't matter if Detroit doesn't get by Cleveland anyway. But quarter tank of gas left. 50 laps to go. Next time by. 51 to go at the line there. Utter dominating race. Kind of a good thing we're doing this as a 50% race, because, man, if we had to do 400 laps of this, we already haven't had much to talk about this race in general. Man. A beating. I wouldn't want to count this as our first caution-free race, because I do think we went caution-free at Atlanta earlier this year in a 50% race as well. Still obviously haven't gone caution-free in a cup race that's 100%er yet. Done it twice in the Truck Series, I believe. Twice in the Busch Series. I mean, if we think back to the Do It For Dale season on NASCAR 06, when we did a similar season where I did the actual schedule from what would have been the 2005 season with the original chase format like we have for this year, I won the most races, but I did not win the championship. So when we do have that reset, we're really going to have to be on it. We don't have the equipment to play from behind. The good news is the first race of the chase is New Hampshire, which is between there and Richmond, my best track on this game. And a good confidence booster even before that is the fact that we have the regular season finale at Richmond as well. Though if I lock up the #1 seed, there's a very high probability that I'll just end up, skipping until we get to the chase. So that's a thought out there as well. If we get the #1 seed early. Because then we really don't have anything to race for. Not like we can get playoff points that carry into the playoffs for us, like we do with the current points format. 40 laps to go here at Richmond. So the laps continue to wind down. About an hour into the stream now. Couple cars on pit road. I see Dale Jr. Tony Stewart just pitted. So they're going to be some of the first cars onto pit road for the second and final time. We pitted at lap 84. So if we were to go 84 laps yet again, we would technically look at lap 168 to pit, but I think we've honestly saved more fuel somehow this run than we did the first run. I'm not sure how. but I think I can go past lap 168. I kind of noticed that from when we hit halfway out of gas. It did seem like for some reason we went longer than 42, 43 laps like we did earlier. Honestly, I do think we can get under 30 to go before we have to pit. I'll probably take it to exactly 30 to go and then hit pit road. Just lap Jeff Gordon. Again. Overdrove the corner entry a bit. I hesitated. I saw Jeremy Mayfield down on the apron and kind of using the apron quite a bit during this run with my left side tire, so I was scared I was going to hit him. Waited an extra corner to get underneath McMurray, just rode behind him. Better safe than sorry. Kyle Busch on his way to pit road. I'm going to pit this time. We'll have 30 laps to go when we cycle off the pit road. This will be the final stop of the day for Dave Blaney. Perfect timing. Right as I was on the brakes to make it into the pits is right when we ran out of gas. I literally didn't have to slow my car up anymore. I mean, that was perfect. Right as I was on the brakes. Ran out of fuel pressure. All right. Still got some lappers that are cycling in and out of pit road for their final pit stop of the race. But Dave Blaney's made his lone 2 stops and doesn't plan on pitting again the rest of the way. We'll see if we still remain caution-free in this one. Obviously, if we do get a yellow, whoever's in second will get the free pass to get back on the lead lap. So this thing is not done for that reason alone. Stays green, obviously, it's going to be more than done if it stays green. Blaney under Gordon. I've seen quite a bit of cars with a little bit of front bumper damage on them. Like, there's been some contact. We haven't seen much of it. The only real bit of contact I saw, I made contact with one lap car. I think it was when I was trying to get by Casey Mears earlier. 3 wide, I made contact with his left rear corner panel. Other than that, I have not made contact with any other lapper this entire race. And the only contact I really saw that other drivers make was that bit of contact that Tony Stewart and Denny Hamlin had when they were 3 wide. Marlin got underneath both of them, and Hamlin squeezed Stewart into the wall off turn 2. And that was it. That's the only bit of contact I've seen. But I've seen quite a few cars with a bit of damage around their left front. front bumper area of the race car for one reason or another. So there's definitely been some hard-nosed short track racing somewhere around this 3/4 mile facility. We just haven't seen much of it ourselves. .22 to go for the number 22, Dave Blaney. I feel like this is going to be kind of like the IRP Truck Series race we had last week that was 200 laps. Qualified on the pole. I didn't practice that day like I did today, but might have been fastest there also. And the only laps we didn't lead were in the midst of green flag pit stops. The only difference also with that was a one-stop race. This was a two-stop race. Led all the way during the second set of pit stops, but not the first one. We didn't have a big enough of a lead at that time. Mark Martin led for probably anywhere between 2 to 4 laps, if I had to guess. That IRP truck race last week, Bobby Hamilton led 2 laps. That's what kept our driver, Ted Musgrave, from leading them all. Same thing with Mark Martin here tonight, keeping Dave Blaney from leading them all. Kenseth wasn't second earlier. Oh, up the track with Truex and up into the wall, but no caution as he overdrove the entry to turn 3. That was a big hit for both of those cars. So Kenseth and Truex getting together there. And we do stay green. Here's Tony Stewart. About to lose a lap. I wonder if he's in second. Blaney clears him off turn 4. Clean pass. Nope. He was not in second. We're still only a lap ahead. Only. I don't know who's in second place then. I remember Dale Jr. and Matt Kenseth. Kenseth was actually in second the first time I lapped the field. And both Stewart and Earnhardt are in front of him right now. Although Kenseth was only behind Stewart by the group of cars we just passed up until he had contact with Truex. 11 to go. Ten laps remain. The countdown is on. Trying to wrap up the 8th win of the year already for Dave Blaney. Another swing of back-to-back races won. For a win at Talladega a few weeks ago in the last race. Probably going to have a couple more weeks off before next Cup race on the channel here, but continuing the dominant season when we pick it up. That's what's crucial. Having that long of a break between races with this same car. Back to trying to put a bow tie in the Truck Series season. Through this week and next week. And sometime next week we'll end up back with the Busch and or Cup Series schedule then. At the end of the week. Especially with the Truck Series being off the next couple weeks for the live commentary side of things. We're not going to have any live commentary streams on Friday for the next couple weeks. Frees up an extra day for us to get NASCAR 07 content in. Six to go. When Jimmy Johnson's up here, he might be in second. These guys racing for the championship on this Cup Series season, they're probably like, man, what's Dave Blaney doing up here leading the points and winning almost every week? To that I say, I don't know either. Fastest lap, too. 21.491, our first 21.4 with just 5 laps to go. Even this late, we're running our fastest laps. Sadler might be in second up here, if it's not Johnson. I just lapped Johnson. Off turn 4 to the line. 21.431. 600s quicker than the lap before. So 2 laps in a row, Blaney's ran his fastest of the day. He now has a 2-lap advantage on the field, so if we were to see a late caution and a green-white checker restart, we only get 1 attempt at that. Jimmy Johnson is now 2 laps down in the free pass position instead of just 1. 3 straight 21.4s over the last 3 laps late in the going. As fast as Dave Blaney's been, he's never been faster until now. As he races to try to get to the white flag. Back into the 4-5 again. I'm like pushing as hard as I can right now. I'm really trying to beat my best lap. One more chance to do that here. We're not going to be able to see the last lap time. The gray corner through 3 and 4 down on that apron with the lefts. Look at that, 21.3 on 21.396 to the white flag. Final lap now for Dave Blaney. What a race. A clinic nonetheless that this 22 puts on here this evening. Blaney wins again, 8th win of the season. Unbelievable race. And he even saved the best for last. We're saving this pony. We are saving this pony. Polish victory lap, here we are. Can't believe I ran a 21.3. My fastest in practice was a 21.5. We didn't run 21.4s until we got to the last 5 laps, and then I squeaked out right before the final lap 21.3. That's insane. We led all but 2. Mark Martin led those 2 laps during green flag pit stops today. as he finishes in 15th. But he legged out 5 bonus points. 2-lap margin of victory. No cautions. 122.36 mile per hour average race speed. 1 hour, 13 minutes, 32 seconds total time in the race. Obviously, Dave Blaney with the win from the pole. Jimmy Johnson started 4th, finished 2nd. Tony Stewart finishes 3rd. Dale Jr. started 2nd, finished 4th. And then Kyle Busch finishes 5th. Jeff Gordon 6th. Matt Kenseth 7th. 8th for Ryan Newman. Greg Biffle in... missed a guy. Who did I miss? Gordon 6th. Matt Kenseth in 7th. Ryan Newman 8th. Greg Biffle 9th. Kevin Harvick 10th. I thought I missed one the first time. We just gotta look to see who DNF'd. 2-lap margin of victory in a 50% race, nonetheless. I guess Kurt Busch, the other Busch. Kurt Busch was the only driver that blew a motor today, lap 105. Nobody else blew an engine. It's kind of surprising. I mean, he's the only one I saw blow a motor, but what a crazy win. Look at that. Yeah, he deserves that hug. Yeah. Victory lane yet again for my guy Dave Blaney. As we expand that points gap, Biffle and Earnhardt both got top 10s. Be back to the full races. Darlington, Southern 500. Going to be the next one. Should be a fun race. Crown Jewel. We got back-to-back Crown Jewels, actually. We have this one, and then the Coke 600 right after that. So that'll be pretty cool on the schedule as well. 219-point lead. Dale Jr. moves back into 2nd over Greg Biffle, so they'll flip-flop from one race to the next. 2 races in a row, really, because Biffle started points before Dega. After Dega, he was 2nd, and now after Richmond, he's back to 3rd. Trying to get that number 1 seed locked up, hopefully before the regular season finale at Richmond. Move this season along a little bit quicker. And then try to reset, obviously, when we get to the chase. Be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you haven't yet. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. 6 p.m. Eastern start time tomorrow. Back to our original time slot for the next one. It will be a truck race at New Hampshire, 200 laps. Hope to see you there for that. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your Monday night, everyone. Go Tigers.